Hey markers, it's Dora. Happy 1 year anniversary trail team. I am proud that I had a chance to be a part of this great team, and I'm extra proud that we all stuck it out for 1 year on the trail of something different. This is a presentation that I worked on, and I wanted to share my gratitude to you guys as well as to Greg Marker himself. So let's get this party started. The Marker Trail team. We are on Marker's trail of something different. And yes, I did draw that picture. So when did this all start? This started in November of 2010. The Marker Trail team, we're on Marker's trail of something different, was created around the Thanksgiving holiday in November 2010. Made up of 4 dedicated fans of a local reporter that had an interesting catchphrase. On the trail of something different by Pix 11 News reporter Greg Marker is a fan favorite. I was inspired to use this phrase as part of our group name. Let's go to the next slide. And there's the man himself, Greg Marker. Notice the different pictures we have of him. First one is from his Facebook page. This may look familiar. You'll see this later in the presentation. Greg Marker, always on the trail, always reading some new information. Sometimes he brings his bullhorn with him. And of course, always there to listen to the people. Greg Marker on the trail of something different. So let's talk a little bit about this trail of something different. Originally from Ohio, Greg Marker found his way to New York City in the summer of 2008. Through his trails, Marker joined the Pix 11 News family in 2010. He has covered stories about public interest, ranging from the MTA, park cleanup, broken sidewalks, parking issues, and so much more. And this is just some examples of how much he's on the trail. Notice he's always talking with the local public about a variety of things. It could be street issue, sidewalk issue, train issue, even a tree issue. Marker is always on the trail. Now, let's talk a little bit about Marker and how he cares about people. When there's a problem or a question that needs answering, Greg Marker gets to the bottom of it. Look at that smile. And here we are, Markers and Markettes. As the team grew, the ladies and I began calling ourselves Markettes and the guys Markers. Notice any familiar faces in these pictures? A year in review. Let's take a walk along the trail of something different, shall we? Remember this? Blizzard of New York City started December 26, 2010 and lasted until January of 2011. Look at this mess. This picture here on your left is from Marquette Linda Peavy, and this is from the Far Rockaway station in Queens. And this picture over here is from our marker, Hector Dupree, and this is from Woodhaven, Queens. Blizzard meets Brooklyn. Welcome to my part of town. There hasn't been no garbage pickup in some time. Notice all that snow. Guess I'm not going to the store today. You can see for yourself. And if you can't beat it, join it. It's my park day, May 21st, 2011. The Marker Trail team came together to clean up Prospect Park in Brooklyn. Look at those smiling faces. They did great work. Good job, guys. Oh, and let's not forget Marker in the waters. Hey, Marker, those are some interesting waters along the trail of something different. Now let's talk a little bit of my trail. During this time, I was very inspired by the work Greg Marker as well as teammates were doing, so I decided to do my own trail. I call this Pothole Patrol. Look at that pothole. Now, we all know in New York City we have a lot of potholes and broken sidewalks, but this one here on 56th Street and 8th Avenue in Brooklyn was just a big mess. And this one on 5th Avenue and 38th Street was also a mess as well. Were these ever fixed? Bumpy ride in Brooklyn. Sometimes it's not always about driving in Brooklyn that can be bumpy. Walking can be bumpy too. You can see for yourself. Be careful walking and driving. Now let's talk about our infamous subways. Uh-oh. Looks like we have a problem here. No escalator at 181st Street Station. This is in the city. How are we going to get downstairs if there's no escalator? Oh yes, I forgot. There are stairs. But these are the common problems we see with our train stations every day. And this one, watch your step. This is at Borough Hall Station in Brooklyn. Notice that gap? Be careful. Mocker and the MTA. Now we all know that Mocker is always on the trail taking care of business, but he's very, very keen about the MTA, making sure that they do what they're supposed to do. So what is Mocker up to? Well, from talking to board reps to reviewing reports, Mocker is a station near you, and he means business. So earlier this summer, Mocker was in search of the ugliest subway stations. These are ugly. This picture here on your left are some rusted staircases from the Fort Hamilton Parkway Station in Brooklyn. The one at the bottom is from DeKalb Avenue Station in Brooklyn. And this one I think most of us know or are very familiar with is Chambers Street Station along the J, M, and Z line in Manhattan. Don't look very pretty, folks. And as a prize, if you send in your ugly subway station pictures to Mocker, you win a Mocker t-shirt. But in my opinion, we all are winners on the trail of something different. And even the youngest of Mockettes is on the trail of something different. Isn't she a cutie? This is courtesy of Teresa Simone. This is her granddaughter, Savannah. Hi, Savannah. We love the big check. Now let's talk about Hurricane Irene, which caused a lot of problems in our city. Courtesy of Gloria Milan, these pictures were taken from 5 Rockaway, Queens. Look at that flooding. Don't want to walk in that. It also hit parts of Brooklyn, well, all of Brooklyn. Bedford-Stuy was pretty lucky because we didn't get hit as hard, but it did close one of our train stations. And that poor tree, well, you can tell what happened to that. By the way, it did take a week for it to clean up, to take that tree away from the park. And this one is from Woodhaven, Queens. Now these pictures are from a video from fellow Mocker Hector Dupree that you can easily follow on YouTube. And when you get a copy of this PowerPoint, you actually will see the link I attached to this presentation. What a mess. Now let's talk about Mocker and some breaking news. Recently, on October 4th of this year, there was a horrible helicopter crash at the 34th Street heliport. Mocker was one of the first reporters from Pix 11 on the scene. And as a result, he took this picture that became very global. Greg Mocker was one of the few reporters to get to the scene of the helicopter crash at 34th Street heliport. He captured rescue efforts as they were happening. This picture can be seen on local, national, and international news. Congrats, Mocker. Now let's talk about some Mocker meets. I had the pleasure of meeting Greg Mocker on 2 occasions. Let's talk about the first one. Ironically, it was on Valentine's Day of all days, February 14th. I met with Mocker to talk about the B63 Where's My Bus ad. Now this is very interesting because the MTA was creating a new initiative where you can text them and find out your arrival time of the bus. However, when I was waiting for the B63 many nights working, I noticed that I would text MTA and they would say the bus was coming and it would take about 30 to 45 minutes for it to show up. So I had to call my buddy Marco to get on the case. Luckily, right after this report, ironically I should say, that this new initiative, Where's My Bus, started to work effectively. To such a point, I only had to wait 5 minutes for the bus. Marco got skills. Or MTA is listening, one of the two. The second meeting was April 29, 2011. This is at DeKalb Avenue Station. As I mentioned earlier, this was one of the stations that not only was ugly, but it landed me a free Marco t-shirt. Haha Marco, August 21st, 2011 comedy show. Greg Marco was one of the many reporters who actually attended Comic Strip Live in New York City to compete in the New York Funniest Reporter show. Now, although Marco was funny, I must admit, he didn't win the trophy for this prestigious reporter award. But I will say that in our book on the trail team, he is always a winner in our eyes. Notice our fellow Marquettes giving him support. And Marquette Evelyn had the opportunity to meet Marco just this month, or last month I should say, excuse me. The first meeting they had was at Gotham Comedy Club. It was a fundraiser for fellow Pixel 11 reporter Stephanie Sofolis. The second is a Bowl for the Cure. This was an event to support cancer research, and they had a fundraising event at Rav's Bowling Alley in Staten Island. Go Evelyn, stay on the trail. What does Marco in the trail mean to you? Well, let's listen to some comments. Harry says, family, the people I have met on this trail have become just that. I appreciate the markers and Marquettes in my life, especially the main marker in Marquette, Greg and Dara. For the rest of my life, I will be on the trail. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. Tear, tear, LOL, which also stands for laugh out loud. And I say, what a journey along the trail of something different. I am happy to have been part of the trail and meeting some great people along the way. It's been a good year, one I will always cherish. I'm happy I had the chance to meet Marco and some of the team members. I love you all and continue to stay on the trail of something different. So what does the team mean to you? After posting this video, please feel free to comment at the bottom. We want to hear all of your thoughts. And finally, Greg Marco, we thank you and we're proud to be on your trail of something different. I just want to add, team members, that it's been a great year, one that I will always cherish. I thank you for your support of me and helping me create such a great team. I thank Marco for being the inspiration behind creating this team. Keep up the great work, team members, and remember, stay on the trail of something different.